Folks, we are live. I thought I was live for the last like 10 minutes, but we are 3 rounds in, so I'll try and recap everything for you. I pressed the streaming button, but did not press go live. So, wow. Wow. We're just going to come right in on this draft board. So it is a 10-team half-point PPR Dynasty League, $10 entry fee, 25 rounds. So you will be seeing a lot, and I mean a lot of depth grabs here. So I am Armchair0410, as you can see right here. Got the first pick, was lucky enough to have that. I took the best receiver and honestly probably best fantasy player in the game, especially from a volume perspective. It's half-point PPR, but I still went with Justin Jefferson first round. We saw a bit of a jump for Mahomes, but again, when you take away half a point of that PPR format, you're going to get something like that. Jalen Hurts goes a little bit later on the turn. It's Barkley and Kupp. Another interesting pick, seeing, Amon-Ra fall a little bit, CeeDee Lamb falling. Almost got Jalen Hurts on the turn, so I took Tony Pollard, somebody who obviously gets an upgrade for volume. He is a good pass-catching back, but I just care about the efficiency we saw out of him. I think he's right smack dab in the middle of his prime right now. He's playing for a phenomenal Dallas Cowboys football team, despite the fact that we see otherwise in the playoffs, right? That's for sure. There's Sam. Sam gave you and Gabe a shout-out when I first thought I got on the stream. Now I'm actually on the stream, so here we go. Yeah, off to a bit of a rough start, but not in this draft. I love Justin Jefferson. I love the fact I got Tony Pollard. And then Josh Allen. He has been 1, 1, and 2 for fantasy quarterback rankings the last 3 years. Absolutely love that pick, all things considered. And I think we'll see a bit of a gap before we see the next quarterback go off the board. Lamar brings a lot to the table, but he missed 5 games last season, missed a few before that. Jalen Waddle goes, DK Metcalf goes. Devontae Smith. I'm trying to see if there are any stacks on the table right now. Everyone's kind of playing defense. I haven't seen too many yet. Or even too many opportunities. Jamar Chase, Jalen Hurts, and DK Metcalf. That's a dangerous 3 already right there. No stacks yet. Some possible ones that we could see come to fruition in the next 3 or 4 rounds. I could definitely see Tua going off the board in the 7th or 8th round, maybe even before that. It says 10 team. I'm used to playing like 12, so I kind of have to adjust my math there for a little bit. Love the support, Sam. I see you in the chat. It's not going unnoticed. Yeah, folks, if you are just joining 10 team half PPR, half point PPR, well, that's in the name, right? Dynasty draft, $10 fee. And we've got the best wide receiver and possibly the best fantasy quarterback in the game so far here. So, phenomenal start. And then, of course, folks, with any stream, I am answering your questions throughout the entire thing in the comment section below. So, pop any of those that you have in. Did you just have a draft? Did an injury impact you? How are we feeling about Jerry Jeudy going down? Anything like that. You feel free to pop those right in the chat below. Yeah, this will go on for a while. So while it does stink that I came in about 2.5 rounds in and was a little late, this draft is going, as you see up here, 25 rounds. So we will be going at it for quite a bit. T. Higgins goes. Garrett Wilson fell, in my opinion. I think he'll still get plenty of volume. Even in half-point PPR, he is going to be the favorite. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers is out there comparing you to Devontae Adams, saying he had some characteristics of the other 17, I'm a big fan. Sam, so Zach Taylor says that Joe Burrow is now perfectly healthy. Thoughts on his performance? I think if he's got the keys to the offense, he's good. Is Zach Taylor playing poker? I don't think so. I don't think this is one of those situations where way in week 1, he doesn't want to tell a defense my guy's hurt. I don't think a head coach is ever fully going to admit that. But anytime you have a wide receiving core, Sam, of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, you have 3 potential wide receiver ones. If you plop some of those guys on a plethora of other teams throughout the league, and then you have the talent that is Joseph Burrow, I am very okay with just hammering a start right in week 1. He's in that elite tier. And that's good news. There was a scare with that. Some people thought maybe he was going to miss a week or 2, and I still said, get him in the first few rounds. And there goes Joe Burrow, speaking of the devil. The draft stock really hasn't suffered. I mean, you just look at the raw production you're going to get of this guy throughout the entire year. You'll be fine. Calvin Ridley goes mid-4. And don't worry, I've been thinking on my feet here as to what I'm going to do next. Oh, yeah. I don't even want to put people in queue, just in case I get stream sniped. I don't think I will, but you never know. And then with this being 25, so it's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 3 flexes, a kicker and defense. So everything conventional, but a super flex for sure. 3-fold. So you want to get a lot of playmakers. And it's half-point PPR, so you want to get people who are just going to rack up the yards. Big plays. And I'll say it now because they've already gone off the board, but guys like Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs, they will see their value go up in leagues like this because it's not as reliant, and in standard leagues, I mean, you're all over them, right? It's not as reliant on a pass catcher. It doesn't hold as much merit to go out and get an Austin Eckler, and that's why you see him going 8th here. You're not going to see Austin Eckler go 8th overall in a standard PPR league, but this is half point, and that's why we are where we are at. Justin Herbert goes 4.6. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, that is just such a gamble, right? He could go literally anywhere. So you kind of just have to look at his raw production the last couple of years. You got to hope you're going to get the value that everybody saw out of him 2 years ago and go from there. But yeah, Sam, for your question, I think Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback out of the gate. With the weapons at his disposal, with his talent, I don't really care that he's in an AFC North that features a lot of defensive talent. Joe Burrow has been phenomenal out of the gate. First 3 years have been great. We saw, the injury scare in the rookie year that shortened it. But the last 2 years, I mean, everything is advertised, right? It's everything we could have ever wanted. And more. And more. Couple of week 13 buys, so week 7. There goes Ramondre Stevenson in the 4th. I'm at a point where I've really just come to terms with the running back by committee format. It's a concept that's getting more and more prevalent. I'm doing the running back rankings video next in the preseason, so I have come to terms with the fact that this is just what we have. So you have to take, certain running backs who you think have thrived in that position already or will thrive in that position going off of their raw production. And I'm not going to release too many names for obvious reasons. Again, we want volume people here who got a lot of attempts out of the backfield, who got a lot of looks in general, who maybe didn't have the best supporting cast but still showed up and now have an improvement around them. And, one of these flexes at least can be a running back. As long as they're getting a decent amount of volume, I love Travis Etienne. Does have some pass catching upside. We don't value that as much in this format, but he's an efficient back nonetheless. Keenan Allen is north of 30. We're seeing the injury bug hit him. I love Amari Cooper. Was quietly top 10 all of last year. Got some other dark horses that I'll get on the way back. Or. Nah, I feel good about where I'm at. Let's go take Amari Cooper. Etienne and Cooper on the turn. I'm feeling good about that. Not even a fifth of the way home, folks. 25 rounds in this draft. It is a $10 entry fee, so a $100 prize pool. It's going to go 60 to first, 30 to second, 10. You get your fee back for third. Half point PPR, it is Dynasty, so we're sticking with these teams. We'll see trades throughout the year. I'll follow this league relatively closely. I'm kind of just doing it for the draft content so that all of you can see what's going through my head in this process. But I will be following our subscriber league that I'll be starting up very soon. We'll see how many participants we can get for that. I think we can load it up to at least 12. And of course, I will also be following the series, and this is going to be a weekly series. I draft the worst possible fantasy football team imaginable. And what does that look like? I'm taking meme players. I'm taking backups. I'm taking the whole 9 yards. And from there, as soon as that draft is done, I have to flip that team, take them and build them from the ground up until they are playoff worthy. And I want to get that team into the postseason. So we'll see. It's going to be a challenge for me. I think it's possible. I kind of just want to do it in general to show everyone that if you have a bad draft right now, as we are drafting, right? And I think we're doing pretty well so far. If you have a poor draft, it's not over. Unless you quite literally did what I'm about to do intentionally in the next week or so. I'll keep you updated on the date for that. You're going to be fine. Pay attention when there's injuries. Pay attention when, You know, there's different people taking over at the starting position. Pay attention to all that stuff. Sam says Cooper over Keenan Allen, 100%. Keenan Allen has been really struggling with injuries, especially when we point to last year. Justin Herbert kind of slings it all around, and I honestly think if everybody stays healthy, especially with the condition that Mike Williams is in, he's the number one. You've got Austin Eckler poaching so many as well. Whereas Amari Cooper, at least in terms of all the pass catchers there, yes, it's a more run-oriented offense with the 3-down back in Nick Chubb. You know Amari Cooper, Sam, is the definitive wide receiver one. And from what we've seen for the most part, he is way healthier. I want somebody who is going to be available. The best ability is availability, and Amari Cooper beats out Keenan Allen by a country mile if we look at the recent season, even the last couple of seasons in that category. And Amari Cooper has been dealing with subpar quarterback play. I mean, Deshaun Watson had the worst year, abbreviated, of course, of his career, but he was projected to have the worst full season of his career. And we look at guys like Garrett Wilson. We look at guys like Chris Olave, who were like, how on earth did they get over 1,000 yards with this cast? Amari Cooper got over 1,000 yards. He exploded in Dallas a couple of years ago. I mean, he's really just been Mr. Consistent every single time. And this is what I want, right? I want availability. He has missed no games last year, and it's either 1 or 2 games all the way back to 2017. I want someone who is going to be available. Look at Keenan Allen. Nothing against him. Amari Cooper is 29. He won't be 30 until almost a calendar year from now. When Keenan Allen plays, he's a top 12 to top 15 wide receiver. He could even be fringe top 10 today. But he misses 7 games here. Not too bad. Couple here. And before that, he was Mr. Consistent. My worry is Keenan Allen is that full year older, and that is a huge difference at the wide receiver position. I mean, look at the drop-off of DeAndre Hopkins as well. There's a reason that he hasn't been drafted yet. Yeah, I'll gladly take him over Drake London as well, Sam. Drake London operates with an unproven quarterback that is Desmond Ridder, who has some rushing upside. That team, Sam, ran the ball more than anybody else, not named the Chicago Bears. And what did they do in the first round of this year's draft? They went out and got Bijan Robinson when Tyler Algier already had a 1,000-yard rushing season his rookie year. This team prioritizes the run. It sets up for a phenomenal... Oh, sorry, there's a bug on my laptop. It sets up for a phenomenal play-action scheme. But Drake London, I mean, I'll take Deshaun Watson over Desmond Ridder from what we've seen so far any day of the week. And Drake London operates in an even more run-heavy scheme than Amari Cooper does in Cleveland. They're both more of run-heavy teams in general, right? They're both going to lose a decent clump of games this year, so they'll be in pass-heavy situations down the stretch of almost every contest. But I'll take a proven wide receiver in Amari Cooper in an offense that's a little more balanced as opposed to Atlanta, who just ran it some more with Tyler Algier and a running back committee, to say the very least. Now they go out and get Bijan. They've got somebody like Desmond Ridder in the pocket. I'm cool with that. And same thing with DJ Moore. Sam, I'm cool with those guys going because guess who ran the ball more than anybody else? More than the Falcons. The only team that can claim that last year. The Bears. I think they hit their rushing ceiling. I think DJ Moore has 1,000-yard season potential. But the fact that Amari Cooper put up 1,100 yards with what Deshaun Watson did last year, again, he was on track for his worst season of his entire career by a decent amount. Whereas I love DJ Moore, but even as a Bears fan, I will fully admit this. The story's not out on Justin Fields yet in terms of how well of a passer he is. He's shown some flashes in the pan. He's shown some electricity with his legs. Khalil Herbert is now the running back 1. They went out and got a bargain for D'Onta Foreman as the running back 2. Travis Homer's back there as well. This team is still going to build in a plethora of runs. They'll dial it a little bit back. They will dial it a little bit back. They went out and got DJ Moore. They used that first overall pick. But I'm going to go off data here and say Amari Cooper just had an 1,100-yard season during Deshaun Watson's, I mean, holy crap, he was never even close to this completion percentage, with the exception of his rookie year when he's trying to learn how to play NFL football. And even with this, and some turnover, obviously, you got to give your credit to Jacoby Brissett as well, Amari Cooper had 1,100 yards. Keenan Allen, not very available. DJ Moore, in a very run-heavy offense. So yeah, I'm very cool with taking Amari Cooper over those guys, for sure. I think they're all in about the same pool, but I'm giving Cooper the nod because of what he did with what he had at his disposal. Got some more chats in here. Thank you all so much for joining in. Let's try and get to 10 likes today. Fire in the likes, fire in the subscriptions. This is Fantasy Armchair Athletes. We help you out-research your fantasy opponent in the middle of a $10 half-point PPR draft with 10 teams. It is 25 rounds because it's Dynasty, so get ready for some depth. You're going to learn some new names today. Guarantee it. LBR, good to see you in here again. Yo, should I trade Saquon Barkley for Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson? My running back 1 would then be Saquon, and running back 2 would be Kamara or Sanders. Obviously, Miles Sanders in a new environment in Carolina. He will be the running back 1. I love the value of Saquon Barkley overall. LBR, it's a little harder for me to take something like this when you have PPR in the pass-catching upside of Saquon Barkley. But he's another year older. He's coming off a healthy season with a lot of volume. I hate to pull that card. Breece Hall got hurt last year. Very early. He is sharing the backfield with Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is the the 10th highest paid running back. So, meant ETN at the running back 1. Okay, gotcha. I was going to say, yeah, it can't be Saquon if you deal him. ETN and then Kamara in PPR. I mean, in my opinion, LBR, you are getting a top 10, maybe even top 5 wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall has so much upside, but he does share a backfield with Dalvin Cook, who is now the 10th highest paid running back in the entire league at $8.6 million on the 1-year deal. It's close, but if you value potential and upside and security with Garrett Wilson, for sure, just understand if you're going to make that deal, you've got a pair of, I mean, you could pull the card with Saquon Barkley as well, right? You've got a pair of injury-prone running backs. Breece Hall, it's just a smaller sample size. How is he going to do coming back from the injury? But he looked phenomenal last year. Saquon Barkley could get hurt as well. I think it's a pretty even trade, LBR. I'd shoot for it. With the production that Garrett Wilson brings, I just pulled the card with Amari Cooper and how he operated under Deshaun Watson last year, who had by far the worst season, and he was projected to have the worst season of his career. He can use the small sample size as an excuse, I suppose. But if you look at what Garrett Wilson did in his rookie year, over 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns, 13.3 per reception, 147 targets. The target share is huge. And I don't think Allen Lazard or Randall Cobb is going to take away from that target share a whole lot. My point being, Garrett Wilson is very much worth it in that deal. 1,100 yards with, let's play a game. Who were the 4 quarterbacks who threw for the Jets last year? Zach Wilson, Mike White, I'll put some respect on his name, 2022 Joe Flacco, and Chris Streveler, a lifetime backup. You're going to get a lot of value with Garrett Wilson. Just understand the injury risk with Breece Hall. I'm deciding between, because my wide receiving core is Devontae Smith, Amari Cooper, and DK Metcalf. You want some balance too, LBR, right? You can only play so many wide receivers. So does it help you to have Garrett Wilson with there? It's going to look awesome, and you're going to have some trade leverage, but you don't want to get too thin in the backfield. Kamara and ETN. And Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson is phenomenal, though. I mean, you could go Metcalf, Wilson, Cooper. Devontae Smith is a great volume guy, along with A.J. Brown, who's more the big play guy. It's pretty close, LBR, but just understand that if Breece Hall goes down, you're still going to get a stud in Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers said it on tape. He said it in an interview that Garrett Wilson has characteristics of Davante Adams. We know how Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams operated. He shoved him the ball. I think it's a good deal. Just understand the injury risk at hand there. Sam says, Corey, I'm at 50 after 8 on the golf sim. What am I doing wrong? Corey, answer me, please, Corey. Sam, you're going to have to send some tape in. I don't know if you're coming over the top, if the club face is open, if you're shutting it too much, if you're chunking it. I don't know what's going on there. So, appreciate everybody stopping in. Going into round 6, it's going to get murky real quick. Yeah, and Sam, there's a reason that Keenan Allen is still available. If he somehow fell all the way to me, which he won't, maybe I would take him. But there's just so much risk with the injury potential there. I believe he's the best overall rating on the board right now, and people are just skipping over him. Because he's north of 30, he's a wide receiver, and he played about half the season last year. But yeah, LBR, if Breece Hall ends up being Breece Hall, even if he shares it, the backfield with Dalvin Cook, Garrett Wilson could be top 5 this year. He could be your best wide receiver. You've just got to pay extra attention if you do this to free agency with running backs should one of those guys go down. Obviously, you don't have Alvin Kamara the first 3 weeks, so keep that in mind as well. Sam, my number one suggestion if you're at 50 through 8 holes on a golf simulator is play Scramble with your buddy. And I know you've got a buddy there. Looking at the turn. We've got 2 awesome wide receivers in Justin Jefferson and somebody who made lemonade out of lemons last year in Amari Cooper. We've got Etienne and Pollard in the backfield. Very even team. And then we have Josh Allen as well. There goes Keenan Allen. Good pick, Chris. I mean, there's a reason he fell. Injury prone, but if he plays even a decent clump of games, there's a reason this guy's fallen too. DeAndre Hopkins. I need more pass catchers. And Chris Godwin is now in a wide receiving core that will be missing Russell Gage this year. He is out for the season, so Trey Palmer gets the upgrade. Mike Evans is 30. I like Chris Godwin as the wide receiver 1. It's going to be a bit of a risk with Baker Mayfield, but it's one I am willing to take. Before I say that, week 5 bye. Okay, we are safe. Do we go and get our tight end? Well, I just said it out loud. I don't think... Look, Evan Ingram's got to compete with somebody else now. Because now it's Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and Zay Jones. I want a good tight end. I've got somebody who has a very easy strength of schedule this year coming off of a rookie year. Yes, there's also George Pickens. Let's just look at an overall evaluation before I pull the trigger on this. Am I missing out on anyone crazy? We've got somebody more established here in Dallas Goedert. He's had his fair share of injury issues, but yeah, he missed a clump last season. Tight end talent is so far and few between past the first few. Let's take the best guy on the board in Dallas Goedert. I'm all right with that. Aaron Jones going. There goes Miles Sanders in Carolina. Jerry Jeudy goes despite the fact he just got injured, but he should be back. Same size Godwin has Baker and Kyle Trask. Corey, what are we doing? Godwin's also got a wide receiving core that is dwindling away. I don't see the Buccaneers winning a whole lot of games, so they should go pass heavy. Mike Evans is north of 30. Russell Gage is down. I think Godwin's just going to get a lot of targets. And that's all we really care about. If the team sucks, the team sucks. And actually, in this case, if the team sucks and loses a lot of games, they'll stay pass heavy or at least be balanced. Also, Sam, if I can find it. Yes, it's a completely new offense, right? I just typed Sam in the search bar. Obviously, new quarterback, new offense in general. Same backfield. Tampa Bay just didn't run the ball last year. They are extremely pass heavy. So I like the odds with Chris Godwin. There's always been room with him, even in the prime of Mike Evans, and I think we are exiting the prime of Mike Evans. LBR, let me know if I answered your question on the trade completely. Boy, we've got a few at our disposal. Pretty even team here. We've still got a couple of flex positions. Open. JSN goes, and he'll be out for a couple of weeks. It's about where they've been going, their ADP. JSN, I think, even goes a little higher here. Matt C., I think it's my first time seeing you here. Welcome to the channel, man. 12-team PPR. We've got Chubb, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, and Chubb. First 4. I think you got somebody else other than Chubb there. So let me know what that is. There we go. I see you pulling it back. But I will gladly look at that for you. We are 7 rounds in. Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is dropping like a fly. Matt, can you run those 4 by me? So we've got Pierce, Chubb. I need the other 2. Waddle. Who was the 4th? Pierce, Chubb, Waddle. I'm assuming you mean Dameon Pierce here, who I believe is still on the board. Maybe not. No, he's not. He just went. Okay. Nick Chubb, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, and Dameon Pierce. I like it, Matt. I don't know why I said Sam. I've got Sam commenting in here too. Again, thank you all for joining so far. We are through 7 rounds out of 25. There goes Brandon Ayuk. I regret not taking him. I think Godwin and him will be relatively close, but I do love Ayuk as an under-the-radar pick, and I think he nearly fell to me. Should have fallen to me, right, if I took him. Yeah, Nick Chubb, Matt, I'm assuming this is just standard PPR. Feel free to clarify on this. Nick Chubb is a 3-down back, one of the few we have left. Garrett Wilson put up 1,100 yards, just went on this rant with a horrible quarterback room in New York. Now you get a future Hall of Famer, albeit he's about to be 40, in Aaron Rodgers there. So you're going to see an uptick in production for Garrett Wilson. Jalen Waddle, it's going to be a little dependent on the health of Tua Tagovailoa, but that guy is so fast along with Tyreek Hill, and he's obviously way younger than him. Just throw him some bubble screens, and he'll be completely fine. Matt, it's PPR. Perfect. Dameon Pierce, not as much of a pass catcher. I'm not sure who was available for you. But the thing with Dameon Pierce, do some quick math. In 13 games, 39 targets, that's pretty easy. So 3 targets per game. There's some other guys out there in the same range. I wouldn't say you want to go and reach for somebody who's part of a committee, but if Jonathan Taylor was open, I know his destination is pretty unknown. I mean, he's going for... Wouldn't hate Ramondre, even though you've got the touchdown merchant in Zeke. Etienne's been falling a lot as well. Just looking at this. Kenneth Walker III. Zach Charbonnet's back there. He just got picked in the 2nd round. Reached on Pierce for sure. I think you did, man. I'll be transparent with you. I still think it's a solid team, and Dameon Pierce is a fine player. I think he's arguably the best player on that sorry Texans team right now. But you'll still get production out of him, right? I mean, we had 131 yards here, 139. The issue is someone puts up these phenomenal performances, 27 rushes. If you tell me a running back in this day and age especially is getting 27 touches, I'm buying all day long, right? Except for the fact that in this game specifically, there's no receiving upside. So you could go out, maybe include him in a trade package if you want to. He's not a bad running back, but I think he would have been around a little bit longer. Passed up on Kenneth Walker and Brandon Ayuk. Did I screw up? Matt, I think with Deebo Samuel being a little more injury prone the last couple of years, Brandon Ayuk being Mr. Reliable, I think he's taking over as the wide receiver 1. It's a run-heavy offense in San Francisco, always has been. That's the reason that they invested in Christian McCaffrey not too long ago. And then Kenneth Walker III, maybe not, because although he does have pass-catching upside, did cool down the second half of his rookie year. If we look at him right here, where did he go? Kenneth Walker. Just saw him. Am I crazy? Oh, he's right here. Second half, he started to cool down a little bit more. And then he picked back up towards the end, which was really nice. But had a bit of a rut here. Some pass-catching upside for sure, but really about the same as Dameon Pierce. So I can't blame you too much for passing up on Kenneth Walker III. It seems like a bigger name. He was obviously around a little bit more, had some more touches, was more efficient of a back. They did go out and get Zach Charbonnet in the second round, though, so I think he loses some touches. Ayuk, I would say, holds some more value, and I would have taken him over Pierce or Kenneth Walker III. I would have taken Brandon Ayuk over Dameon Pierce and Kenneth Walker III, especially from a PPR standpoint. I think Ayuk would have fell, though. You could have gotten somebody even higher caliber, right? Like, you know, Najee Harris, not my favorite. He's not very efficient, but he is the feature back there. Not that Dameon Pierce isn't, but they did go out and get Devin Singletary, and he just doesn't have the pass-catching upside. At the very least with Najee Harris, we've got a decent amount of pass-catching upside here. We saw a downtick in production in that department in 2022. He doesn't even rush for 4 yards per carry, but this guy is a volume stud. He just gets shoved the ball a lot. So, you know, I don't blame you at all for passing up on Kenneth Walker III. It's virtually the same thing, same situation in terms of him sharing the backfield with Charbonnet and Devin Singletary sharing it with Dameon Pierce. I mean, is Houston going to run the ball a whole lot if they're set to lose 12, 13 games again? Ask yourself that too. So that's kind of just why I'm a little bit more down on Pierce. But the main thing with him, especially in PPR, right, Matt, is there's no pass catching upside there. Sure thing, Matt. Hope I helped. If I did, feel free to hit that subscribe button, the like button. We're doing a $10 Dynasty draft right now. 10 team, 25 rounds. So get ready to know some players pretty soon. Jordan Addison goes early 3. But yeah, we do fantasy shorts pretty much every day. So little tidbits of tips and all that good stuff. And then we just released a video today that was dedicated to preseason fantasy quarterback rankings from 1 to 32. All the week 1 guys. And I consider things like recent injuries of their supporting cast, their own injuries possibly, their injury history, and of course, the certain competitions that we have lurking around the league. Specifically, I'll call one out right now in Tennessee. You don't go out and get Malik Willis and then Will Levis back-to-back years. Not acting like they're proven studs or anything, but you don't go out in 2022 and get a third-round quarterback and then in 2023 get a second-round quarterback if you're convinced wholeheartedly that Ryan Tannehill is the answer. That's the stance I think that Tennessee is taking right now. Dylan's in here. Good to see you, Dylan. We are in round 8. Started off strong. Justin Jefferson, Tony Pollard, Josh Allen. I think we have 2 potential number 1 overalls in their respective positions here. Went Etienne, Cooper, who made lemonade with lemons last year, with Deshaun Watson. Hoping to see, you know, that quarterback gets an entire offseason to kind of learn this playbook now. He's not thrown in halfway through. Chris Godwin, another guy who not in the best situation, but that's a team that could lose a lot of football games. Mike Evans is obviously getting way older. Russell Gage is out for the season. I see a great window of opportunity for Chris Godwin. And then Dallas Goedert. We went out and got our tight end. And oh my, I didn't think he was going to fall. I did not think he was going to fall. There's a certain person I'm looking at right now that I was sure was going to go in the last 5 minutes. Odell in the 8th. Those 2 knee surgeries scare me, man. But, you know, he's got the upside. So we've got a pair of running backs. We have 3 wide receivers. We're in that running back by committee range now for sure. With some exceptions. Khalil Herbert is the 1. James Cook is the 1. The running back one, that is. Got 3 5s. I mean, 28 years old. Keenan Allen's been going down. You know, he was hurt last year too. Mike Williams. Can you just ever trust Chargers wide receivers in this day and age? I feel like the obvious answer is no. How much time do I have? 57 seconds. Red zone. No. Overall targets. I am pretty sure this guy was up there in the ranks, and it's virtually the same offense. Yeah, Deontay Johnson was right up there. It's just a matter of him and Kenny Pickett getting on the same page. Oh, dear. Go back to the draft, Corey. You are running out of time. Let's go Deontay Johnson. And we've got to go running back here for sure. Dave Montgomery is going to be that support back. Javonte Williams is back. And, you know, I liked what I saw in a relatively small sample size. but then he got hurt. Just 4 games last season. Do I want to risk a 9th round pick on someone who missed the majority of last season and really didn't look too sharp the last couple of games in an offense that just doesn't scream electric to me anyway? Cam Akers, that offense is very poor as well. Montgomery's got to share with Jahmyr Gibbs. James Cook is super efficient, does have some pass catching upside in a relatively small sample size. I mean, you know, he was sprinkled throughout. We're deep now, right? We are deep. Ish. We still want some more good pass catchers. Traylon Burks is hurt. JSN's only hurt for a couple of weeks. I think Mike Williams gives us too much value. He's still coming off a 1,000-yard season, even with the injuries, right? I apologize to my league mates. I am taking the entirety of the clock. We're going to go with Mike Williams. There's too much value there. I just made the firm point. That Keenan Allen's not available enough. So if there's that window of opportunity, you know, maybe Joshua Palmer, maybe DeAndre Carter breaks out. But if Mike Williams can just be healthy for 13, 14 games, I think we're cooking. Dylan says, Corey, how did you build that ticker on the bottom? Dylan, so I use OBS, and there is a ticker feature. I have time, right? I have time. Let's go here. So I'll just cover this real quick. This is my screen. There is a ticker feature. I just put this in a folder. If you go to add, there's a text feature here. And then if you go into text, I'm not going to make another ticker for obvious reasons since we're here. But if you go into sources, plus, and text, with that, you then choose your font size, style, spacing, all that good stuff, right? Kerning. And then, I don't know if there would even be kerning. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But then there is a ticker feature, and I just picked that. Or scrolling. It's scrolling or ticker. But yeah, so in OBS, free software, highly recommended to anybody who does want to stream in any capacity. Sources, plus, text. You've got all these awesome things. You can do game capture. I'm doing display capture right now, which is what's on my screen. Window capture is why you see my draft. I strictly have a browser window open. But the one I'm talking about for you, Dylan, is text, and then there is a ticker/scrolling feature. I will text you the details after this, and I can even drop those in the description as well, but I've got your number, so we're good. But that is how you do that. Javonte didn't look good in the preseason. Slow. Matt, that is good intel to have. Especially against those backups. A-Rod goes in the 9th round. I'm going to look back. Do we have any stacks? Chris does not have Garrett Wilson. There goes JSN. George Kittle, Jalen Hurts. There's no Devontae or A.J. Brown. I stole Goddard. Mahomes. Nothing. Kelsey Herbert. Keenan Allen fell past. And Mike Williams multiple times. Nothing. I think this league is just playing defense right now. Like, nobody wants anyone to have a stack, which is fine. Bijan. No QB left. This person, Tom, you're sitting back and waiting for probably like a Daniel Jones or a Jared Goff. Yeah. I mean, these guys are so underrated. Their ADP is in the low 100s, if I can remember correctly. Daniel Jones with rushing upside especially. I'm very excited about someone who cleared 700 rushing yards and has really shown that upside the last couple of years, and the efficiency. It's been around 6 with the exception of 1 year. Jared Goff lost some weapons, right? The backfield was gutted, especially his pass catcher and DeAndre Swift. So it's going to be up to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery to see if we can maintain that. Lost TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings, but still has Amon St. Brown, still has Khalif Raymond. Still a solid young receiving core. But Jared Goff, coming off a huge bounce back year, was 10. And these guys are just chilling down here. Geno Smith, another one. It's like these guys had one very good year. He was number 5 because he was just in every single game. This man played almost all the snaps. He played every snap, 100 across the board. These guys had comeback years. I mean, Daniel Jones, it was just his career year. Geno looked like he was going to be a lifetime backup. And then Jared Goff has a resurgence after a few-year hiatus out of relevancy, right? Dylan says, I've been trying to figure that out all summer. Yeah, Dylan, I got you, man. It is just simply sources plus text option and look for the scrolling feature. OBS is awesome, man. Seriously. Kadarius Toney goes. He will have a bigger role for sure this year with Juju gone. Travis Kelce still the top dog. Pat Freiermuth, I could have waited on him. And taken Brandon Ayuk. I just didn't expect that Pat Freiermuth would fall this low. The guy's got one of the easiest schedules coming up in the entire league for tight ends. I saw that through Fantasy Pros. He was tight end 7 last year? 11. Okay, my bad. In standard. It's a young team overall, right? Like, Deontay Johnson is the vet of that receiving core, at least in terms of people who see a decent amount of volume. Kenny Pickett going into his sophomore year. George Pickens going into his sophomore year with a ton of upside. Where did he go? Yeah, he's gone. Luke Musgrave goes. All right. Is there a Packer fan over there? Let's see what we got. Quentin Johnson. George Pickens. There he is. And then Pat Freiermuth going into his sophomore year as well. So just a relatively young core overall. Feeling very good about this. I mean, we've got some big names. We've got some high producers. We have one of the best target shares in the league, despite the fact that probably no one knows about it, in Deontay Johnson. He was 7th in the entire league last year, tied with Garrett Wilson for most targets, and Kenny Pickett is only going to get better. I mean, he had a very rough first half of the season. Second half, he picked it up following the bye week. I believe it was a 7 or 8 week stint. He had 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. If Deontay Johnson just had like 7 or 8 touchdowns, I mean, he'd have a much higher value. Yeah, Deontay Johnson went touchdownless last year, and he had less than 1,000 yards. Did not catch a lot of these. 147. That's how many targets he had. Caught 86 of them. But there's potential there. For sure. George Pickens is going to be that 50-50 ball guy. But I think Deontay Johnson can be an effective volume guy as well. I mean, a lot of missed throws. There were some drops in there. But that's a young, exciting offense. I think. There's potential. Corey needs something that I won't reveal yet because we're very far away and I don't want to get poached. Defense is starting to fly off the board. Bills are still up. Jets are still up. So Eagles, Cowboys, there goes the Bills. I don't mind streaming a defense. I think if you can find optimal matchups, find out who's playing the Texans almost every week and you'll be okay. No disrespect, but there's just... Robert Woods is their wide receiver 1. So... Who took the first defense? I think it was Eagles 8th round. And then the dominoes from there. Gotta watch my buys. I think I'm alright. 2 5s, 2 13s. A 6. 3 5s, actually. Williams, Godwin, and Cooper. A 9. Yeah, we're okay. I mean, there are still some RB1s on the board. I will say that much. There's James Cook. There's... Oh, is he gone? Yeah. Khalil Herbert's gone. He usually falls a decent amount. Where did he go? Oh, he went right here, early 10. Anthony Richardson goes. So Tom opting with somebody who I think has a lot of risk. I mean, he's extremely talented, but outside of Michael Pittman and maybe Jonathan Taylor, he could leave. We've got to ask a question about how much support does he have. Mason, do you worry about Goddard being in too much of a crowded offense? I mean, that comes to mind, Mason, but, you know, it's a run-heavy scheme too. So I kind of thought the same thing about Devontae Smith. because he's involved there with A.J. Brown, with now a loaded backfield in DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny. Those guys are both very injury prone, though, so keep an eye out for that. It could happen, but he's had a decent amount of targets. He's been good or reliable. Once you get past Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and George Kittle, there's not a consistent, explosive tight end. You're kind of sitting around a range where you just want someone who you know has been involved over the years. And Dallas Goedert, historically, has been involved over the years. I'll take a tight end who's cleared the 500-yard mark the last 4 years. It's nothing exciting, but there's not really much of a drop-off from the fourth best tight end on. Goddard's been Mr. Consistent. If I knew that Pat Freiermuth, who I think could definitely break out and continue to do well after last year, was going to be around for this long, I would not have jumped for Goddard. I would have sat back, taken Brandon Ayuk. I would have been done with my wide receivers virtually. And then I would have gotten Pat Freiermuth, and I can't believe he's fallen to the 10th round. I really can't believe it. I mean, there are a lot of just under-the-radar names here. And we've got some interesting situations here. I mean, I think A.J. Dillon has operated well as the handcuff back. If you can be running back 26 in the league, but you're running back 2 on your team, they're doing something right over there in Green Bay. It's a rookie quarterback. I see them leaning on the run a lot more unless Jordan Love just goes ballistic. James Cook, on the other hand, I need another back. He is the running back 1. Damian Harris is in town, but Devin Singletary is gone. He's been efficient. We haven't seen the greatest sample size. Josh Allen's another year older. How much more is he going to run? I don't know, but I hope it's a decent amount because I have him. We're going to go James Cook. Now we need defense. I'll take the Jets. That secondary is absolutely nasty. Front seven's not too bad either. But yeah, Mason, I hope I fully answered your question. I think Goddard will still have a decent role. We're seeing a model of consistency there. Somebody who has had over 500 yards in the last 4 seasons. It's not great. It's not popping off the page, but it's somebody who's going to get the job done. And outside of a few tight ends in the league, we're not expecting anyone to even sniff 1,000 yards. So I just want someone who's going to get the job done. Dylan, last question on the ticker. All good, man. But can you set the text in advance, or do you need to set it every time you log in? No, I've had this message going for a while, Dylan. I mean, at least the beginning, right? So I have the breaking news. I updated that today, and I just set it, and it's good. But the thanks for tuning in, I usually stick with that. I'll change up the language here and there, but that has been sitting here for over a month. So, yeah, it's preset, and it just rolls. Super convenient. Low maintenance. I can't believe it. I mean, there's obviously he's not going to go undrafted, but Pat Freiermuth. Someone tell me the secret. It's a tight end who got over 700 yards last year. Young offense, so maybe that's it. Yeah, I like him a lot. Also, excuse me, folks, it's his 3rd year. I misspoke and said 2nd. Wow. That man is slept on. There goes Tua. Jalen Waddle. Yeah, there's like... I'm skimming here, but I see no stacks. Let me know if you see any stacks, folks. Usually you see at least one person playing to that. I mean, I've got Josh Allen and James Cook. That does not count at all. Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert, with that being the most run-heavy offense last year. I mean, you could make a case that that's a stack. Thoughts on TJ Hawkinson? Is he a top 5 tight end? Dylan, right now, he definitely is. When you look from a pure volume standpoint, targets, no doubt in my mind, this man is getting fed the ball. He's healthy. He's only out for a week. Yeah. He actually skipped his bye because he switched from the Lions to the Vikings at the perfect time. But TJ Hawkinson is targeted more than anybody else in the league, not named Travis Kelce. If we go back a year, the involvement wasn't... That's 2 years, Corey. The involvement wasn't nearly as high. We actually saw a huge jump, but he did miss 5 games. And on an average standpoint, this man has been at or over 7 targets per game, top 5 in the league for the last 2 years. I believe his rookie year. That's only his second year. That is crazy. Yeah, TJ Hawkinson's young. He's exciting. He gets a lot of volume, especially the last couple of years since he's entered the league, right? I mean, this guy was a stud in Detroit, and he's done just fine for himself. And I think he could get even more volume this year because Dalvin's gone, right? So if Alexander Mattison doesn't pan out the way this team wants him to, things could get very interesting. We're into the bench. Kickers are flying. I'm not very eager to take a kicker. You know, in 18, 19 round drafts, I'm not really going to go out and take him. I'd much rather get a flex with some value. Holy cow. Holy cow. Oh, this man is falling. Holy cow. Is he the best overall? No, it's Tyler Lockett, and then Javonte, and then Deshaun Watson after his poor year. Dak's still a great volume quarterback. He threw 15 picks. Was outside the top 15 last year, but he also missed 5 weeks. And outside of last year, in a year where he was hurt, when this man plays full seasons, 8th in the league, 2nd in the league, 14th, 10th, and 7th. Yeah, so we're kind of going into our depth here. We need some backups. Again, folks, if you are just joining, make sure you subscribe for daily fantasy football advice. We are here to help you out-research your opponent, outwork them. That is the goal here. And we are doing a lengthy draft right now. So make sure you leave a like and drop any questions that you have related to fantasy football. Some phenomenal content upcoming. If you're watching right now, make sure you go out and check out the preseason fantasy quarterback rankings video that we dropped earlier today. And our 10th pick is gone auto in a money league. 12th round, it is deep. That'll speed things up a little bit. I'm sticking this out. 3 running backs. 5 wide receivers, a tight end, a quarterback, and a defense. I mean, I think we're really deep at wide receiver. I would argue we've got 5 top 30 wide receivers. No one will argue that Justin Jefferson, Amari Cooper, or Chris Godwin are in there. Mike Williams, it is health dependent, but he missed a clump of games last season, yet he still cleared 1,000 yards. And Deontay Johnson was top 10 in the league in targets. He just was not on the same page as Kenny Pickett. He could get a fraction of those targets, and as long as they convert a little more often, which, you know, it's expected to see some speed bumps in a rookie quarterback's first year, or in a quarterback's first year. I mean, we're really going to like what we see here. Deontay Johnson is going to be the volume guy. That's what he was last year. And George Pickens is going to go up and get it on those 50-yard bomb passes. Treylon Burks is hanging around for obvious reasons. He's going to be out a few weeks. There goes Jordan Love. Pat Freiermuth taken in the middle of the 12th. There he goes. All right. That is crazy to me. I mean, that's a top 10 tight end, I would say. To see Musgrave go over Pat Freiermuth is crazy to me. This guy's going to be a stud. I can see that. Njoku, for sure. It's a run-heavy offense, and I do think Cooper's going to get his. Yeah, he just fell. I have some people I like here, but also I'm not going to stretch. Do I go out and get the best kicker in fantasy football? That sounds stupid, right? But he's been top 3 the last 3 years. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. It's the 12th round. I don't think I'm ready to do it yet. We're getting close. Some talent is falling. DeAndre Swift is listed as the running back 1 for Philadelphia. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is going to call his own number a fair share of times as well. Call me dumb here, but I want some trade leverage, and I think Dalton Schultz will do just fine. That team has to pass. They have to. They should be behind the 8 ball a decent amount of occasions this season. I'm going to take Dalton Schultz. We saw the production in Dallas, and then I'll go out and get the best kicker. Well, I'll do it in round 13. I think that's fine. Justin Tucker went, Evan McPherson went, Harrison Butker went, and the guy who's been top 3 in the league in points because they just kick so many field goals in Las Vegas didn't go yet. So I will gladly let him fall in my lap. So we've got our starting lineup, and we got to fill this bench out now. This is where you scoop and try and get some raw talent. It's where that research really kicks in. I don't want to say too much until it's a couple picks before me. But I like what we've got. I really do. Treylon Burks goes mid-13. Laporta goes. I've seen his name a lot. I don't think he'll take too much. Well, it's going to be him and Brock Wright, so maybe. Deshaun goes early 13. Looking for a bounce-back year there. Chris is. Javonte goes in the 12th. The touchdown merchant in Ezekiel Elliott goes in the 13th. I feel like him and Jamal Williams are going to have very similar valuations because neither were super efficient. Zeke, correct me if I'm wrong, was below 4 yards per carry for the first time in his career. There it is. But 12 touchdowns on the ground will make you running back 17. Jamal Williams, who has not gone yet. A little more efficient last year, was running back 7, just barely over 4 yards per carry, but a Lions record 17 rushing touchdowns. He had the most red zone touches in the entire league by a wide margin, and that's why New Orleans brought him in, right? They didn't bring him in so that he could touch the ball 20, 25 times a game. That's just not why he's here. He's going to support Alvin Kamara after the first 3 weeks, which, by the way, for the first 3 weeks, Jamal Williams will be the running back 1. But they brought him in because he's going to punch it in, right? He's got a nose for the end zone. Nope, 2022. Right, it wasn't close. He had 7 more rushing attempts than anybody else. Now, red zone touches, yes. I mean, it's obviously Austin Eckler, so excuse me on that language there, but Jamal Williams, the most rushes inside the 20. And inside the 5 as well. And that's not even close, by 10. So that's what he's here to do. He's here to finish off those drives. There goes Jameson Williams. Kyler's off the board. Dak's off the board. A couple good volume guys. Darnell Mooney quietly had a 1,000-yard season for Chicago, I believe, in 2021. He did. Question's going to be, what will his role be? Obviously, it's a run-heavy offense there in Chicago. They've got DJ Moore. They've got Chase Claypool, who they gave up a second-round pick for. I'm going to attempt to queue some guys up again. That does not let me. That's okay. There we go. We can have a watch list. And folks, thank you if you are joining this stream. We're drafting out of a 10-team half-point PPR 25-round league, $10 entry fee. It is Dynasty, so it will roll over from year to year. You're going to see some probably pretty quick trades first couple of weeks involving future picks, and then plenty more when you've got a certain team out of the race the last couple of weeks. They're looking to plan for the future while somebody else is trying to make a playoff push. Love me some Dynasty. Really looking for some just productive reserves here, and I've got to make a case as to why I would take some of these guys. I want to take Kirk and Daniel Jones. I'll be transparent, but I can't. They both have the same bye week as Josh Allen. I could use them interchangeably and then, spot a QB for that bye. I just don't know many times where I'm going to say, yeah, I don't need Josh Allen. Maybe he gets hurt, right? Cortland Sutton off the board. Allen Lazard, one of the two Packers wide receivers brought over to New York, is off the board as well. Samaje Perine, who went over to Denver, off the board. A-Chain's off the board. I've seen plenty about him. Raheem Mostert's obviously at the forefront of that backfield, and then it's Jeff Wilson Jr., but Raheem Mostert is 31 years old, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm taking Jamal Williams. He's going to be a starting running back for the first 3 weeks. That gives me a lot of depth and leverage in terms of what I want to do with my backfield. He's a touchdown poacher, so we're going to do that. Oh my gosh. I mean, this guy is consistently a top 15 quarterback. And he's got some matchups against Kansas City secondary, Chicago, Atlanta, New Orleans, Vegas, Detroit. Wish he could play against his own defense. Obviously, Minnesota has not held their own too much. Oh, do I do it? That's going to look pretty dumb, having two quarterbacks with the same bye week. How much would I truly put that value to use? Probably not a ton. Let's go get Jared Goff. Resurgence last year. Almost had 30 touchdowns. One of the best years of his career. He's got a top 10 wide receiver at his disposal in Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm okay with taking Jared Goff this late. Bryce Young went back in the 12th. Okay. And there goes Taysom Hill, the Swiss Army knife. Let's look at some of these teams here. So I've got Josh Allen, Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne. I'm really happy with this. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Amari Cooper. Dallas Goedert, I definitely could have just sat back, waited for Pat Freiermuth, and taken Brandon Ayuk. That one's going to bite me. That'll bug me for a bit. Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams. I mean, just solid all around. Not a whole lot of injury issues outside of Mike Williams from last year. Best kicker in the game the last 3 years in Daniel Carlson. The New York Jets defense. James Cook, the new running back one. He will be accompanied by Damian Harris, but he is the running back one for the first time in his career. I'll gladly take someone who was very efficient his rookie year. 5.77 yards per carry. And had some pass catching involvement as well, despite having that backup role. Went out and got Dalton Schultz. I'm a big fan of a pass catcher in an offense that I believe will be operating from behind a lot. Got Jared Goff, and then, of course, got Jamal Williams, who is going to be a starting running back for a sixth of the season and is primarily used in the red zone and has been more than anybody else, if we're referring to last year. So we've got 5 wide. Let's take some more. That's probably what I'm thinking here. All 3 of my flexes are wide receivers, so I'm not too mad at that. Everyone else is around 5 or 6 weapons here. 5. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I took mine early, too. 6, 7. This is the part of the draft where everyone's really just starting to get some people who, you know, they're the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 on their team. Maybe you start to think of game script a little bit more. Go after a wide receiver 2 on a crappy team, knowing they're going to get some garbage time. You could play that game for sure. Romeo Doubs goes. Jonathan Mingo goes. Rashad Bateman's off the board. Michael Gallup. That's a phenomenal pick if he can stay healthy. Huge asterisks there. But he has been dynamic for sure. I mean, at this point, you've got such a deep team. As long as you don't have like 5 or 6 of the same bye week at this point, I'm cool with taking a repeat for sure. Holy cow. Got some phenomenal options left still. Rondale Moore, smaller sample size. Zay Jones is still up here. Coming off a career year in Jacksonville. What's the impact of Calvin Ridley going to be? Only time will tell. We are about 3/5 of the way home. I need some water. I might... Nope, I got it right here. Gonna say I might have to leave the room, but it was right next to me. Well, across the room on a desk. Okonkwo goes. He was catching fire down the stretch. The number 20 tight end in the 21 tight end in the league goes. Ooh. Jacoby Myers. Now the Packers defense is off the board. I mean, shoot, this is a league format where you could see 18, 19, 20, 21 defenses off the board just because we do have 25 teams, 25 rounds that we're working with. Nico Collins, who I think will be the wide receiver 1 on that team not too long from now. Got Van Jefferson. If Cooper Kupp goes down, just a lot of different situations that you got to go through. Tank Dell has been great in preseason. Maybe he's the wide receiver 1 before we know it. No, he's got a ladder to climb. Because it's Robert Woods and Noah Brown, Nico Collins. Yeah, they got Noah Brown from Dallas. They just poached part of Dallas's receiving core because they got Dalton Schultz, too. Nobody wants Kirk Cousins. Oh, my gosh. I mean, what did he do wrong? He's had at least 25 touchdowns forever. Last 8 years since he took the job over in Washington. He's a 4,000-yard machine. The picks aren't always ideal, but he's never been over 14. It was actually a career high last year, and he was still quarterback 6. That is crazy. There goes Daniel Jones. Plenty of rushing upside. Quarterback 9 last year. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. There goes Kirk. And, wow. Tom got a bargain. To get Kirk way down in the 15th round, 16th round, that is nuts to me. I think he should be top 100 more times than not. There goes Kenny Pickett. Here come the depth picks for sure. I went out and got Jared Goff. If the bye weeks didn't match up, I was jumping all over Kirk Cousins, but him and Josh Allen are both out in week 13. Again, if you guys have any fantasy football related questions, you drop those right in the comment section below. Jason, how are you doing, man? Jason, we are drafting out of a 10-team half-point PPR league. It's Dynasty, $10 entry fee, so there's going to be $100 to play with at the end of the year. The 25 rounds is because it is Dynasty. It's going to roll over from year to year. And here's what I'm working with. Best wide receiver in the game. Running back who got a promotion. Possibly the best quarterback in the game. He has been nothing but consistent. A top 3 quarterback in fantasy the last 3 years, so I'll gladly take Josh Allen. I don't know the last time I had Josh Allen. And from there, just a lot of depth pieces. I think we're really deep at wide receiver. Justin Jefferson, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams. Yeah. But doing well, Jason. How are you, my man? Jason, have you drafted any teams, or has it just been like mock drafts, setting up for one? What's the status of your league right now? Are you in any dynasty, where you're kind of just waiting and going through some off-season trades? Keep me posted. What's going on? Zay Jones. That is a good pick. I was hoping he'd fall to me. Was hoping he would go. Slim pickings. Got Jerick McKinnon, who just went nuts towards the ends of last year. I mean, it was all receiving, right? But 9 touchdowns. I believe he had a streak of 6 or 7 games where he had at least one receiving touchdown, 6 games. My memory serves me right. Sorry, just left while you're asking me a question. No, you're good, Jason. Just wondering, have you drafted yet? Are you just doing mock drafts? Has your league started? And then I just added on there, are you doing any dynasty leagues at all? Because I think these things are a lot of fun. It's much more time investment for sure, but I think they're a blast. And then if you've got any questions related to fantasy football, Jason, I think the floor is yours here. So, oh my gosh, Will Grier is in Dallas. That is crazy. He's already been in the league 5 years. Sheesh. Don't do it, Chris. Don't do it. Let these guys fall to me. And they fell to me. Nice. Let's go Tyler Boyd. I don't know how he fell to the 16th round. You know, that he could be a wide receiver too, or definitely a wide receiver one in a couple of teams in the league. I like the sure-handed wide receiver in Adam Thielen here with a rookie quarterback. You know, just over 700 yards the last couple of years, and that's with Justin Jefferson. I think this team could lose a lot of games. They're definitely improving, but they are in the NFC South, so I think I'm going Adam Thielen here. Just going to queue up a ton. That's right, I did help you. You helped me last week deciding to keep Amon-Ra over Henry. Found I'm going to have the 3rd pick. Good stuff. Bijan coming to me at the 3rd pick. Is that half-point PPR or PPR in general, Jason? Just curious. This is half PPR. I forgot to say that, I think. But Bijan went 1.7 here. Rondale Moore is off the board. Kind of curious to see. So my quarterback rankings were, I won't reveal the whole thing, but also, Jason, if you haven't seen that, dropped a video about 6 hours ago. It was 3 p.m. my time. And it was preseason fantasy quarterback rankings, and I gave a deep dive of about anywhere from 20 to 35 seconds on each of the guys, why I'm placing them in certain spots. It's very informational. It's only 15 minutes out of your day if you want to check that out after this stream is done. Would greatly appreciate it. Just looking for some feedback on if you guys like these styles of videos, if you want this to be more of a weekly thing. I think instead of the Start 2 Sit 1 series, if you do remember it from last year, Jason, instead of doing that in a shorts format, I'm just going to put 3 individuals at each position, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. I'll leave defense and kicker out of it because you can just stream those. I'm going to do 3 from each position that I believe are going to perform above their average and 3 that I believe will perform below their average. It's going to be due to different depth chart changes, matchups, injuries they could be coming off of, trends that I'm picking up on, the whole 9 yards. 0.5. Saw that and sent it to a friend, not in my league. Yeah, don't send the advice to the people in your league, right? Half-point PPR, Bijan at 3 makes a lot of sense. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, those guys, not premier pass catchers, but they're going to have some more value because the emphasis is, placed on sheer volume. And I won't have the last pick, so that is nice. Deuce Vaughn, that's a good pick. All 5'5" of them. He's been performing well. He will complement Tony Pollard very well. But yeah, Jason, let me know in the comments on that other video after this what you think of it, what you think of the rankings and everything, the style of video. I do think that I'm going to do rankings as much as I can, but it's going to be my goal on a weekly basis just to tell everyone who's above their valuation, who's below it. And those will be deep, deep dives. This was just kind of a general overview of a pool of players, this time being quarterback, but we will dive into some extensive research. And running back room is still pretty open right now. Rashad Penny's still on the board. Tyler Algier, I think he's going to get a healthy dosage. I mean, this guy was a 1,000-yard rusher last year. He was averaging 5 yards per carry. He wasn't much of an asset in terms of a pass catcher. And Atlanta went out and drafted Bijan. I guess take the best guy on the board, right? Feel bad for him. I was hyping up Tyler Algier coming into this year. Thought he would have a great lunge forward. I knew Garrett Wilson would have a great lunge forward, or, I guess I didn't know. It hasn't happened yet, but quarterback room could not have gotten worse than it did last year. Now they've got a future Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers, so I think he'll take a leap forward, but Tyler Algier obviously cannot take a leap forward unless Bijan goes down. Because Bijan's going to be an all-purpose guy. He could be a 3-down back. He's got an extensive route tree. He is the greatest thing we've seen out of college since Saquon Barkley. I mean, just a nut out of Texas. Rashawn Johnson goes. Deontay Foreman goes after him. Interesting. Because Deontay Foreman is the running back 2 on that depth chart. Rashawn Johnson was in the same backfield as Bijan, but still had a great year. Still got picked up. Everyone's kind of avoiding Raheem Mostert right now, 31 years old. Not too much to be excited about there. I think Miami is a phenomenal destination for Jonathan Taylor, by the way. I mean, if you look at that running back room. It's wide open. Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert. It's basically the Miami 49ers, right? And then A-Chain. Saints defense goes. Do I go out and reach for another one? I don't really see a need to get a defense. I have a lot of confidence in the Jets, specifically that secondary, right? Again, folks, if you are just joining, we are doing a 10-team half-point PPR 25-round $10 admission fantasy draft. So it's Dynasty. A lot involved, obviously. I'm Armchair 0410. I know, wild, extensive name, way off-brand, but there is my team so far. Got number 1 overall. We're doing a snake format, so I've had a lot of back-to-back opportunities. I wholeheartedly believe I have the best wide receiver and the best quarterback. I mean, I could say it, right? Best wide receiver in the game, no doubt. And most consistent quarterback over the course of the last 3 years. He's the best. In Josh Allen. He's cleared 400 points the last 2 years. Nearly got it in 2020. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback coming into this year. But he took a huge leap. He's taken a huge leap each year. And the only reason Jalen Hurts was below Josh Allen last year is because he was out a couple of games. But on a points per game standpoint, Jalen Hurts was the best. This is Herbert's year. Khalil Herbert. I mean, what's there not to like about him, right? Let's go get him here. Where is he? Oh, show drafted. I could have been putting that on the entire time. This is somebody who averaged almost 6 yards per carry in his sophomore year with the Bears. He was fine the first year. Not a ton of pass catching upside, so you're going to see him more in half-point PPR and standard leagues. But Khalil Herbert, I agree, Jason. You have the number 1 running back in the most run-heavy team from last year. Chicago ran the ball 60% of the time. That is unprecedented. And they were losing. They were 3-14. I don't know if that's just a clear tank, but they were thriving in the run game. Very efficient team. Typically, from a game script perspective, you see a team go throw heavy when they lose 14 games, but that's just not this team's strength. The run blocking was there. Pocket wasn't holding a whole ton. Yeah, Khalil Herbert is going to be phenomenal. I could see 1,000-yard rusher for sure. I don't think he needs a lot of rushes to get there. He just needs to stay healthy. I love that take, Jason. I think Brandon Ayuk is extremely underrated. He has gotten better each and every year. Deebo Samuel's another year older. He's been injury prone. Ayuk just hasn't had those issues. George Kittle has given him praise because he has been blocking 20 yards down the field for somebody else. Lots of like with Brandon Ayuk. Plenty of improvement from a fantasy football standpoint. I think he's that definitive number one this year. Gabe's in there. Let's go Bears. Gabe, leave a like for the Bears. Let's go Bears. Huge Bears fan. It's only up from here, right? 3-14. Can't get worse than that. For those of you that don't know, I am a pessimistic, realistic, whatever you want to call it. There's a good pick. Under the radar. Pessimistic, realistic Bears fan. So there's really no bias here. I mean, there's not a Bears player to be seen on my team. I just didn't see value at the certain pick that I had. Jake Ferguson could be interesting, man. Obviously not a lot of usage the last year, but 19 for 22. Jason Witten, Dalton Schultz. The Cowboys like to use their tight ends. I might take Jake Ferguson. I mean, it'd be my third tight end, but that's not out of the ordinary in a league where you take 25. Most are around that 18 to 19 player range. We got to dig deep here. Watch it. Gabe, I'm just saying it's only up from here. Being optimistic with the Bears. No, I see 7 to 8, maybe 9 wins for them this year. It's a relatively easy schedule. The run game is top-notch. The health of that offensive line is going to dictate a lot, Gabe. A lot. I'm just watching my bye weeks here. Our last 2 are 7s. Got a lot of 13s. Couple 9s. Some 5s. From there, we're safe. I mean, Philadelphia was a top offense, and DeAndre Swift is relatively injury prone, but this guy has been too. Rashad Penny is just in and out, in and out, in and out. Kareem Hunt's a free agent. Yeah, we are thin here. I've got 4 running backs. I'm okay with this. I'll go and get a depth piece just in case. You never know what can happen in Miami. Raheem Mostert is older. Jeff Wilson. All things considered with the value here, we'll be all right. And then I'm going to go ahead. Derek Carr's got a decent amount at his disposal, right? If Michael Thomas can stay healthy. Chris Olave was a stud last year. Do I just want that security blanket? Or I could go out and get a guy who really took off a little bit last year. Down the stretch. I don't see a ton of value at getting a third quarterback here. It's not a dual quarterback league. Let's go get Juwan Johnson. I like the value on that one. It's the comeback season, Gabe. I hear you. Jason says, could Javonte Williams be a good late pick in PPR? Didn't he catch like 15 passes in week 1 last year? I heard he had like 6 targets in their preseason game the other day. Yeah, that's what he's there for, right? He's there to be a check down, a security blanket for a guy in Russell Wilson who didn't have the best year. You know, actually the worst year of his career last year. Javonte Williams is definitely a good late round pick. Yeah, I mean, 12 targets, right? We didn't see much after that. 4, then 5. His rookie year, he was great. 4.5 yards a carry. We didn't really lose much efficiency last year. He just got hurt. So you're taking the injury risk. But there is some pass catching upside. 53 targets, actually 1,200 all-purpose yards in 2021. He was running back 17. Javonte Williams, just had 1 year off. Obviously, still a very young running back. The shelf life is going to extend more than just 3 years. Samaje Perine's back there to supplement. Yeah, that could be a good pick. Jacksonville's front seven is getting a lot better. I will say that. Travon Walker. Of course, Josh Allen. Miles Jack retiring. How about that? I saw that the other day. Strasburg retired today. End of an era, right, Jason? But at least he did get himself a ring. Washington got a ring. Bryce Harper left, and then Anthony Rendon went ballistic. Starting five was pretty solid. Trey Turner did Trey Turner things. I mean, that was a fun team. So at least Strasburg got his ring, but yeah, I saw that, man. It's tough. Lots of potential there for sure. Pass catchers, I mean. Do we go get the definitive wide receiver too, who had some nice moments last year? Not a whole lot of touchdowns, obviously. I don't hate Nico Collins here in the 20th round. If you are ever questioning your perseverance or want to strengthen your patience, go into a 25 round draft. This is fun, but it's taken a bit. That's why we do it though. Gardner Minshew. I mean, hey, if Anthony Richardson doesn't pan out. Mac Jones goes 20th round. Everyone watching right now, look at the preseason quarterback fantasy rankings and see where I put Mac Jones and my reasoning. That one, I won't say anything else. I will not say anything else. Pray, yo. Good to see you, man. Edward, it's been a while. Full PPR, Bijan and ETN, or Pollard and Gibbs. Bijan Robinson is the best prospect we've seen out of the backfield since Saquon Barkley. He goes into an offense, Edward, that ran the ball more than anybody else, not named the Bears, in the Atlanta Falcons, and they go out and get him. They go out and get the most talented guy in the draft when it was their turn. ETN's in an offense that is well spread out. He's very efficient, a decent pass catcher. I love that Tony Pollard did get the backfield to himself now. Deuce Vaughn's going to be back there, but the touchdown merchant in Zeke is gone. But I'm definitely taking Bijan and ETN. Gibbs is a rookie. We've got a highly touted rookie in Bijan Robinson. I'm not saying that Jahmyr Gibbs is a scrub, but Bijan's got much more talent. And if we're just going Bijan versus Tony Pollard, I'm taking Bijan, especially with the route tree right now. Not by much, but it's close. Pollard's a second or third rounder. And then ETN and Gibbs, you could almost call it a wash, but we've seen what ETN can do. He's efficient. Gibbs is a rookie. He does have to share some carries with David Montgomery. I don't think it'll be a ton, but yeah. Have you seen the Jerry Jeudy injury? I was just about to ask. Pray. Yep. And then JSN, look at the ticker below, also down. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy extremely frustrated, getting carted off, getting helped off the field. It's tough. It's going to bring up the value of Cortland Sutton, and it's just going to make life a lot harder for Russell Wilson. Already had a down year last year. It's tough, man. I really thought Jerry Jeudy was going to be good, but we knew injuries were a risk coming into this NFL career of his. Yeah. But Edward, Prey, good to see you guys back in here. Make sure you leave a like for the stream. This is a 25-round draft with 10 teams, $10 entry fee. It's Dynasty, half-point PPR, and we've been going at it for almost 2 hours, so leave a like for that. Mechie goes. Edward says, thank you, man. It's been a while since the uploads. Yeah, Edward, we're back on the grind, so I am actually moving pretty soon. Excited to announce a new job opportunity that I took, and it has a lot to do with this, with the broadcasting industry. You know, with what I majored in college. I was a radio, TV, film major, called a lot of games this last summer. So yeah, Edward, I was working about 60 plus hours a week as the play-by-play broadcaster for a summer college baseball team. You can look them up. They're called the Kenosha Kingfish. You'll find my name on the Wikipedia, Corey Sparks. But I was doing game notes. I was calling a game 3 to 4 times a week. I was doing office hours, helping clean up the field. It's a minor league baseball atmosphere. It is a lot of work, but also a lot of fun. But with that, I was only going to be able to make content on here maybe once every 2 weeks, and it wouldn't have been good content. You know, it wouldn't have been content that I was proud of. It wouldn't have been content that you deserved. I like to do extensive research. You see me backing everything up on here. If you guys go ahead and look at the preseason fantasy quarterback rankings video that I dropped earlier today, same story. I'm trying to do a lot of research. I'm trying to equip you with the right stuff. I don't want to just throw names out there because some of you have money invested like I do in this league. So Edward, long story short, yeah, I put in a lot of hours this summer as a play-by-play broadcaster, and I've got a very exciting job opportunity coming up that has to do with broadcasting, and I'll just keep it at that. I'm not allowed to announce it actually until my first day, which is in a couple weeks, but reason I mention all of that is, Edward, expect 3 to 4 live streams a week, except in about a week. I'm going to be moving into a new apartment. I might take a couple of days off, and then it's back to the grind. Expect weekly videos. Expect daily shorts. I'm here to ride this journey through with you guys. Prey agrees with the Mac Jones ranking. Appreciate it. Jason says Marvin Mims can have a big impact in Denver with so many wide receiver injuries. Jason, can you name another team outside of Denver and the Los Angeles Chargers that have so many wide receiver injuries? It is crazy to me, the bad luck there. It's nuts. It is nuts. And then Jason says, congrats on the job, bro. Welcome to the real world. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to talk about it on here. You know, one thing I didn't really anticipate when I started streaming and doing fantasy football, because this was, at the beginning, I'll be honest with all of you, kind of a portfolio builder. I wanted to go into the streaming world, in the broadcast world. One thing I didn't really anticipate was the community. You know, I'm getting to know you guys. When I see Jason or Edward or Prey or Brian Pereira, who's in here a lot, I recognize you guys. You guys are familiar icons. You know, I want to say familiar faces, but I just see the letter or the logo pop up. I want to get to know you guys as well. So I also just, with spending so many hours with you and with you dedicating so much time to watching my videos, to hopping on my live streams at 10:16 p.m. Central Time to talk about football, I figured I would let you in a little bit just on my life and let you get to know me, because I feel like I've gotten to know you guys very well. So I appreciate your support. The new job is not going to dictate the content I'm putting forth. I'm going to do everything I can to balance both. There's an extra room, so I'm going to set up a studio for this, and I think the content is only going to get better. I really enjoy this a lot. I really enjoy getting to know all of you, and it's only up from here. So yeah, let's keep growing. Spread the word about this channel to your friends, because that hiatus, it's over. We are grinding. We put out a video earlier today, Edward, on the fantasy quarterback rankings in the preseason with explanations to each, and now we've got this live stream, so trust me, we are in 24/7 grind mode in terms of pre-production, production like this, and then editing a lot of things as well for the channel. So, but thank you so much for the support. We are down to the final 4 rounds. I never thought I'd see the day. We just took Nico Collins. We've got 3 tight ends. We've got a ton of flexes occupied. Kenneth Gainwell, I wonder how lost he's going to get in that backfield. But okay, hear me out, right? Yes, Jalen Hurts runs the ball a lot. We've got plenty of star power out wide. DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny are very injury prone. Don't be shocked if you blink and it's week 4 and Kenneth Gainwell moves up a spot or 2 in the depth chart. I'm just saying. That is possible. Yeah, Jason, Edward, Prey, thank you guys especially for your support. And anybody else who's jumped on here, make sure you leave a like for a 25-round draft. It's a lot of fun. That actually didn't start out the best. I started this stream in the 3rd round. I pressed stream now, and there's a little live button next to it in OBS, and I forgot to press it. So I went through about 2.5 rounds strictly talking to myself. I was like, oh, the comment section's a little quiet, but, you know, maybe people will trickle in. And, yeah, I just wasn't streaming. So if you go way back to the beginning of this video, I will just basically jump in and go, oh, hello, everyone. My apologies, but I have just drafted 2 rounds, and I need to catch you up on it now. I think I'm drafting well deep, though. I'm making sense of a lot of this. The Jags were a phenomenal team last year. Josh Allen is no scrub at all. Secondary still needs some work for sure. The offense, I think, in general, is just going to go on a lot of long drives, keeping the pressure off the defense. Nico Collins here in round 21, the wide receiver, too. You know, he's there. He's doesn't, in my opinion, have a ton of competition at wide receiver right now. You look at Robert Woods, you look at Noah Brown, maybe he takes it over. That's somebody who I thought was going to be a stud in Dallas after what I saw last year. I just saw a butt of talent, saw great hands, phenomenal route running, really the whole 9 yards. Nico Collins, on a team that loses a lot of football games, presumably this year, could have a couple nice weeks. And he did last year. 9 for 58. Or no, I'm sorry, 4 for 58. 5 for 49, 6 for 44. Got a touchdown in here, 3 for 35. You've really just got to go for it. I mean, it's dynasty football. You are going to be packaging these guys in trades. They're not going to see time. Unless it's desperation mode and you manage your bye weeks poorly in drafts. Yeah. Jason says, great, just drafted Swift in a mock. Look, Rashad Penny's just as injury prone, if not more. So, Jason, it's wide open. That team runs a lot. When DeAndre Swift plays, he's going to be exciting. I just hope he's finally healthy. Edward says, are you ever going to do a free follower league? Edward, please stick around. In the next week, I am doing a subscriber draft. I just want to get all of you involved. And if you go down below, let me make sure I have it. Folks, go down below in the description of... I hate to do this to you. The video I posted earlier today, fantasy quarterback preseason rankings. I do have an Instagram. Go on there and follow me, and I'm going to start DMing you guys to add you to this league. I want to get 12 of you, but Edward, that is definitely the plan. I want to do that in the next week. Jason says, the Bills have a monster of a schedule. Yeah, they do. They've been getting some tough opponents the last couple of years. They were the Super Bowl favorites for the majority of last year. KJ Osborne, I mean, Jordan Addison, I think, takes over wide receiver 2 responsibilities, but this team still spreads the ball out a decent amount. Let's go take KJ. And I'll stick to what I said with Kenneth Gainwell. He's got 2 injury-prone running backs in front of him. Trey Sermon's back there, too. Never mind. Never mind. Gus the Bus? Melvin Gordon's back there. J.K. Dobbins. It's a run-heavy team in general. J.K. Dobbins has gone down before. I'm not relying on an injury, but you've got to think of likely hypotheticals at this point. MVS, I believe he's going to be 2. No. Oh, he's going to be 3 behind Kadarius Toney, and then Sky Moore is the 2. With Trevor Lawrence out there, you could have a decent year. He nearly had a career year. He's your big play guy, right? Over 15 yards per catch. Let's go get MVS. Insta link in your about section doesn't work. All right, Edward, I'm going to get this to you right now. Sorry about that. I will check that out. There we go. Ah, it's because I changed the handle. Edward and anybody else who is here right now, just for you, we've got... All right, right now, I just put in the comment section below a link to the Instagram. DM me, and we will put you in the subscriber draft. It's just armchair.athletes.pod. Gus and KJ, both former Hurricanes. So is Devin Hester, man. As a Bears fan, it pained me to watch him take the opening kickoff back for a touchdown in the Super Bowl against the Colts going on 15 years ago now, and then the Bears lose. But it was fun to see him do that. So we still have the technical wide receiver 1. I just took Nico Collins ahead of him. It wasn't that long ago. Robert Woods is putting up 1,000-yard seasons, right? I mean, we're not going to see that again. He's actually involved in the punt return unit and special teams in Tennessee last year as a 30-year-old. Devontae Parker, the health, Taylor's oldest time. Again, folks, if you're just dropping in, leave a like. A 25-round fantasy football draft. It's 10 teams. The fee is $10. Dynasty, half-point PPR. Bobby Trees. Yeah, this is where we're at right now. Daz Newsome, actually, I liked him in the preseason a couple years ago. You just never know. He's a free agent right now. Evan Hull. I mean, this is where I go out and I get Nathan Peterman, right? Or something. Like, speaking of which, folks, the next week, along with the subscriber draft, I will be doing a draft where I purposely pick the worst team possible. And then from there, I'm going to try and build it up from 0 to hero. I'm going to try and make a playoff team off waivers and trades. That's the goal. Just to show you that if you have a bad draft, it's not over. Anything's possible. That'll be a weekly series. So along with the subscriber draft, we'll be doing that. Gus goes. Tyler Conklin. Just the usage died last year at some point. I mean, there was a point where Buddy was getting 2 targets, 3 targets, 3 targets. Actually didn't end up doing too bad considering the tight end pool is so shallow. Actually had one of the better years of his career. I don't think I need 4 tight ends, though. But honestly, in this world, you just never know. Got Juwan. Got Dallas Goedert. And I've got Dalton Schultz. Leonard Fournette is a free agent. I mean, it just shocks me that he's only 28. It feels like he's 32, 33. I mean, it wasn't that long ago he was with Jacksonville, balling out. Actually had a really good year for Tampa Bay in 2021. The pass catching upside has always been there, but the efficiency took a turn for the worst last year. 3.5 yards per carry. It's all Rachaad White. Jason, I'm actually excited to watch that happen. Jason, I am too. I mean, I'm going to be taking Antonio Brown, Nathan Peterman, you name it, I'll do it. And I really hope the people I'm in the draft with react in the chat. Like, what on earth is this guy doing? This has to be a joke. And it kind of is, but I'm going to build it up from there. Trades, free agency. I'm already doing this channel where I have to pay attention to fantasy football anyway, so a part of it is also going to be, hey, who got hurt this morning? What depth chart changes are there? I'm going to be paying special attention to have handcuff running backs. And then in terms of the format of this, I'm going to call it worst to first series, I think, or zero to hero, or worst fantasy team ever. Think of a name if you want to. I am taking submissions in the comments. But throughout that, I'm going to be logging my process and, really emphasizing that you can get your way out of a hole in a standard 12-team PPR league. 12-team standard PPR. We're shooting for a winning record. I think that'll be fun. Jason, I'm excited for it too. Just as I am excited for the Fantasy Armchair Athletes draft as well. I cannot wait to get in a league with you guys. I think it'll be awesome. All right, this is it, folks. We made it. We made it. Paris Campbell had a career year last year on in New York where they don't have a lot of weapons. If half my team is disappearing into the nether, maybe I play him. And let's take a third quarterback. We're pretty deep at every position. Derek Carr is still on here. Jared Goff is week 9. Josh Allen is 13. Let's go get Derek Carr as our last pick in a 25-round draft. That is crazy. Dynasty will do that to you. So I will show off the team in just a moment here as soon as we get the final end screen. 2 hours and I believe 2 hours on the dot. Cordero Patterson goes. Plenty of competition for him now with Bijan and Tyler Algier, and he's 32 years old. But he was the number 30 running back last year. Mac Hollins is wide receiver too. I forgot about that. Behind Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith. Are you a college football fan? Netflix just released that documentary on Florida. It's pretty sick. Yeah, Jason, I am. I had a friend who was pretty mad that they didn't uncover the controversy with Florida because there was a lot of sketchy stuff going on there, coaching and player personnel-wise, of course, with the different personalities there. But I think, if you can cover a success story like that, I mean, Florida was just absolutely nuts. Tim Tebow era. Had Cam Newton for a little bit. That's crazy to think about. I know Riley Cooper was there. That was a crazy talented team. Under Urban Meyer, too. So, no, I haven't had the chance to see it. Jason, I've seen the Johnny Manziel documentary. I've seen the quarterback documentary. I've got to watch the Florida one still, so I'm excited for that one. I thought the Johnny Manziel one was pretty cool. We got to find out a lot of what was going on behind the scenes. I won't spoil too much with his friend, how he was making some money because this was before name, image, and likeness in college football. But yeah, I'm an avid college football fan. I'm kind of just, the Pouncey twins as well. Yep. I'm kind of just a Badgers fan by selection since I'm in Wisconsin, but I do love the Fighting Illini as well. But yeah, Jason, per your recommendation, I'll go watch that. I've seen quarterback and I've seen Johnny Manziel as well, so I can't tell you who these guys are. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was following along until Trey McBride. I know who that is. Travis Vokolek. Yes. Maybe these guys go nuts in a couple years. Who knows? Last pick in the draft. 25 rounds. We did it. We did it, folks. Win or lose, we lose. There you go, Jason. That is the Johnny Manziel documentary. And that is our team. Wow. Let's go out and get back in with our team. Oh, the draft room is still there. Oh, we're right down the left side. Best wide receiver in the game. Tony Pollard. The backfield to himself. Deuce Vaughn's been impressing for sure, but he's not going to have the touchdown merchant. And somebody bigger than him in Ezekiel Elliott getting in the way. Josh Allen, 1, 1, and 2 in fantasy football the last 3 years. Right up there with Jalen Hurts for a favorite to take over. Travis Etienne. What can you say about him? Efficient back, took over for James Robinson. Over 1,100 yards, over 5 yards per carry. Not too involved in the pass-catching game, but still, this is half-point PPR, so we prioritize that. Amari Cooper dealt with Deshaun Watson having the worst year of his career, and he still had 1,100 yards, one of the best seasons he's had in his career. See what he can do now that Deshaun Watson's had the whole offseason to prepare. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans is 30, and Russell Gage is out for the season. Really wanted Brandon Ayuk here. I wanted a tight end and thought that I had to go up and get one, and thought about Pat Freiermuth and thought, I'll just take the better guy in Dallas Goedert, and then Pat Freiermuth fell like an anchor. So, yeah, here's a guy who was top 10 in the league in targets and Deontay Johnson. We just need that connection between him and the rookie in Kyle. Oh, 1 second, sorry. In Pickett, Kenny Pickett, Kyle Pickett. My goodness, that's 2 hours drafting for you. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen has been very hurt. I think Mike Williams is right in his prime at 28. We're probably about the last 1 or 2 years of it. James Cook has that backfield to himself. Damian Harris will be supplementing him, but he's not behind Devin Singletary, and this man was efficient last year. 5.8 technically yards per carry. Not too involved in the pass-catching game as it seems, but again, he was not the starting back, so very excited for that, especially when I got him. Jets defense can't go wrong with that. Dalton Schultz, a backup tight end, again, 25 spots. We're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 deep in some of these. Dalton Schultz, I'll take a pass catcher on a team that could lose 13, 14 games this year. You lost me a few rounds back. That's fair. And then after that, we've got the best kicker in the game the last 2 years, and Daniel Carlson. Why not? This is usually where I'm going to take kickers, 14, 15 round. Took him at 13 there. Thought I'd get some value. That team just kicks a lot of field goals. They can't finish drives, so we'll see if that changes. Jamal Williams is the starting running back for New Orleans. I really think I got a bargain here. He was brought in for one reason and one reason only, to punch the ball in the end zone. Led all running backs in red zone touches last season, and now with Kamara suspended for 3 weeks, Jamal Williams is that guy, and then the rest of the year he should still have a significant role. He is only 28. Jared Goff. Some good depth, of course. He did lose Hawk. He did lose DeAndre Swift. He lost pretty much his whole backfield, but he does still have Amon St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, and now Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Montgomery, a great pass catcher and a supplemental back. Jared Goff, top 10 quarterback last year. Doesn't even have to be that to really be my backup. Tyler Boyd somehow fell to the 16th round. 1,000-yard pass catcher way back in 2019. Consistently between 700 and 800 yards. The scoring is there. Why? Because there's the distractions of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. That's why. So phenomenal to get him in the 16th round. Veteran wide receiver and wide receiver 1. I got him in the 17th round in Adam Thielen. Yes, he's 33, but he's taking care of his body, and he's just available a lot, all things considered. I mean, here's his year 30 season, 31, 32. He's there 80 to 90% of the time. I love Adam Thielen here. He's sure-handed wide receiver with a rookie quarterback, and they might lose a handful of games too. So you just get a much more pass-heavy scheme. Jason says, I get that Zeke is gone, but all those carries aren't going to Pollard. Dak has a healthy Gallup and signed Cooks. McCarthy said they want to run more. I believe they'll go out and sign Blunt. Could, but Jason, I love Tony Pollard because of the efficiency, right? Over 5 yards per carry. He is very involved in the pass-catching game, so half-point PPR or full PPR. Regardless, I love Tony Pollard for that reason. And he was running back 8 even when it wasn't his backfield. He's going to get more than he had last year, in my opinion. We got Jeff Wilson Jr., who's unofficially been the starting running back. He's listed behind Raheem Mostert, but 860 yards, efficient. decently involved in the pass catching game. I mean, we're getting deep here, right? Juwan Johnson, quietly the tight end 8, more involved. We'll see how he does with Derek Carr. The Jags defense, front seven's phenomenal. Nico Collins, the wide receiver 2, could be wide receiver 1 if he jumps Robert Woods on a team that could lose 13-14 games. So pass catching opportunity there. KJ Osborne might be the wide receiver 3 now behind Jordan Addison. Actually, let's see. Yeah, he is the 3. But still, Kirk will spread the ball around. MVS, big play guy, actually had one of his best years of his career with Patrick Mahomes. Shocker to nobody. Paris Campbell, best year of his career, he goes over to New York, where it's kind of wide open. Yes, they do run the ball a lot. It's Saquon and Daniel Jones out in the open field, but if they want to open up the passing game, Paris Campbell is up there. Derek Carr with the last pick. New scenery. Safe bet. Consistently in the top 20. Nothing crazy, but I'll take that in the 25th round. Folks, that is a 25-round draft. 10-team, $10 entry fee, half-point PPR. It is Dynasty Ball, and I'm super excited to cover it. Folks, thank you so much. Again, leave a like and subscribe for a 25-round fantasy draft that took over 2 hours. Keep an eye out for some more videos. Speaking of which, we did just put out this morning, or this early afternoon, a preseason fantasy quarterback rankings video with explanation from 1 to 32, going through the week 1 starters and where I think they'll be in terms of production. Will they have their job? Injuries around them? How will those impact them? The whole 9 yards. That is out, so make sure you check that out. Just go on the channel's video tab, most recent one. Firing those out a lot, firing shorts out nearly every day, and shooting for 3 to 4 live streams. Folks, I'm Corey. This is Armchair Athletes. And oh, 1 second. Just paid a tab at the bar and finished a mock draft. I'm out, man. When are you back again? Have a good one. Congrats on the job. Jason, I appreciate you, man. I will be live streaming the next couple of nights. If not tomorrow, the next night. But look out for videos and shorts every single day. We're shooting for videos, just edited stuff in the middle of the day around that 3 to 4 o'clock Central Time range. I'll be live streaming around 8, 9, 10 o'clock my time here in the Midwest. So, Jason, thank you for your support. You as well. Prey, Edward, Brian, Gabe, Sam. Got a great community on here. Thankful for all of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.